I don't know about you, but for me, I don't like it. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure that I even think it's fair. I want to exercise my right to an appeal and a lawyer, and I want to, have my day in court. I want to have my time to present my side, my issues. My point of view. After all, I have that freedom and right and privilege. But whether you accept this or not, you're being judged today. You're having your day in court. You're presenting the evidentiary of your lifestyle before a divine court that's going to determine for you heaven or hell. And you have a lawyer, and he's pleading your case for you because you have Jesus Christ, the Son of God, who not only is acting on your behalf, has been in your place. He has walked the walk. He has talked the talk. He has, as a matter of fact, walked a mile in your shoes, and he knows you better than you know yourself. But you're on trial, and you've been on trial for a long time now. And it's getting to the final closing stages of this trial that you're in, and it doesn't look so good. The prosecution has a strong case against you, and you need to do something about that, because quite frankly, if you're like me, you're really not thrilled with what's being presented, because it's all true and it's what people have seen about you. They've seen your failures, they've seen your actions, they've seen when you said what you were going to do and you didn't do it. They've seen when you said what you would be and you didn't follow through. They've seen how many times you've broken covenants, like your divorces and your contracts and your tax codes, and how many times you've made political promises and lied, how many times you've cheated, on the taxes, how many times you've, kind of like done the unethical thing, but it wasn't quite breaking the law, but it was sinful. See, you're on trial, and everybody is watching. There's, on the one hand, you have this huge courtroom scene that's watching and rooting for you. You've got the crowds on your side. 2/3 of the angels are rooting for you. They're hoping you're going to make it. But you got another third that are like out there investigating you, and they're making sure that they look up every skeleton you've got in your closet. Matter of fact, they're finding them daily, all over the place. It's almost as though you don't really care, and you've thrown open wide your life, and you said, hey, this is who I am. I don't care. I am saved. And your lawyer keeps trying to tell you to shut up, to sit down, to be quiet. And the judge keeps trying to say, look, don't keep interrupting the courtroom. You need to do your stuff. You need to do what the court tells you to do. Otherwise, you'll be in contempt of court and you're going to hell, because I'm going to keep you there. And so you exercise your freedom of speech, your rights to yourself, your privileges to make the choices that you want to make, any way you want to make them. You get to do what you want to do, because after all, you're creating the evidence for the prosecution or the defense. And quite frankly, the prosecution is having a heyday. I know for myself, I don't like it. Matter of fact, I think I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to standing before the judgment seat. I say things I don't mean. It's like, well, my attitude was right. My intentions were good. I tried to do good. But it seems like there was always something working against me at the same time. And I never really quite accomplished what I wanted to. We have, quite frankly, in the judgment seat of Christ, a ability to plead our case before God. We can reject the grace that's been given us. We can set aside the obedience to Jesus that He told us we must do in order to be in Him. Because he who has the Son hath life, he who is not the Son of God has not life. If you don't have Jesus today, you don't have Jesus. That's the point. If you don't have a relationship with God, you don't have a relationship with God. If you're not talking to Jesus, you don't have a relationship with God. You see, there's a point where you've got to admit the truth about yourself, because the facts are all stacking up against you. Do you know Jesus? You know that or not? And that's the bottom line, is that if you don't, and you're not, then your lawyer wants to get a hold of you, and they want to have a conference because you're guilty of sin, and you're going to hell, and you need to do something about it. And in court, you have an appeal process where you can appeal to a higher calling. You can take your case to the Supreme Court, and at that great white throne judgment, God will let you plead your case out. He will ask you certain questions, like, well, okay, so you didn't have the chance to hear my voice. Okay, let me ask you this. Did you have nature? Well, yeah. Did you look at nature? Well, yeah. Did I tell you that in nature I was revealed? Well, yeah. Did I ever? And he'll show you what point in time that he spoke to you and you ignored him and you rejected him. Might have been through maybe one of those Christians, that was bugging you. Or maybe you're a Christian and you said, but my pastor told me, and you just never took the time to develop your personal relationship. And so when you come to the Supreme Court, they render a verdict not in your favor. Because by that time, the deck is stacked. You're guilty of sin. I don't like being on trial. When I go into a courtroom, I look around and I say, wow, man, this feels, whoa, like I have to do whatever the court decides. And when I'm in a courtroom, it's real obvious that everyone knows that. There's certain rules that you have to go by, and you go by them because the judge doesn't put up with anything. He doesn't let things get out of hand. And so, sometimes I don't like the decisions that are made, but I have to abide by them. And God has said and warned us that we are on trial. As a matter of fact, I hate to say it, but we're getting towards the penalty phase, of our trial, because it's almost over. We don't really have much more, sidestepping or, quote unquote little maneuvers that we can try in court anymore, because our lives are about to end. The world is coming to a place where God is going to decide, okay, I'm done. I've heard it all. I'm going to render my verdict. And he's going to say guilty as charged. That's the bottom line. No matter what you have, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, you're guilty as charged. That's the whole point of it all. You never were innocent. You never were innocent of the charges. You've always been guilty, and you know it. You've known it from the minute you were born. You know how selfish you are. You know how self-centered. You know how narcissistic this society is. You know exactly what you're doing, because you keep exercising it and doing it over and over again. You know who you are, and you know you're a sinner. It's like, it's easy to try to pretend there's no God, and you can try to, con people into thinking that, you're really one of those atheists. Right. We won't tell anybody if you won't. But you see, God sees it all. Because you're not dealing with people arguing about whether there's a God or not. You're dealing with God who's saying, you're guilty. What are you going to do about it? Because the penalty phase is coming up. And when that penalty phase gets here, I will render my judgment. And at that point in time, you are in trouble. Because you're already pretty much guilty of sin. And you know it. And now you're kind of like discovering, well, I had a good run at it, and I've been sitting there on death row for quite a few years now, but now I'm into the last week of my appeals, and I don't think I'm going to make it. And the date of my execution looks like it's coming up soon. And I don't have much left to do except for to ask for a pardon from the governor. Now, I've asked the governor to look into my case, and to friends of mine, to state what they saw in me, or why they think I should be, forgiven or pardoned. But I don't know. My case doesn't look so good. Your case doesn't look that good either. Because you see, you thought it was about all the works that you were doing. You thought it was about how being good you could be. You thought it was about all these weird things, that you thought, well, I just like this part of the Bible where, I love those that love me. I like those that like me. I take care of those that take care of me. I mean, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So yeah, church, here, I'll give you a few bucks here and there, but you got to take care of me too. I don't want to hear this deny yourself, take up your cross and follow me stuff. That's Catholic. That's being a monk. I'm not a monk. I'm not a nun. I get some morning, noon, and night. I'm not a nun in the morning, nun at noon, nun at night kind of guy. I'm a guy that, I need to have my needs met. Let's be real. I have to satisfy my flesh. And you're on trial. Every day, every minute, every hour, every moment that you exist in this life, you're on trial. And everybody's watching. And everybody's seeing what you will do. Me. I know I'm guilty. Me. I know I sin. Me. I'm a little fearful, I'm kind of like, Lord, you did this. I've done the best I can, but I really can't do it myself. I can't get myself out of this mess. I'm guilty as charged, Father. But because you love me, will you have mercy on me? You don't have to, I know that. There's nothing that says you have to save me. There is no scripture that makes you save me when you don't want to. Because you're God and I'm not. There's nothing in the Word of God that tells me that I automatically get salvation from you. It says I could have an assurance. It says I could have a confidence. I could have a realization. But unless Jesus says I'm His, I'm screwed. Because I'm guilty. So, Jesus. Jesus? I don't want to come to the Father with all my righteous works that I've done. I don't want to come to the Father saying, well, I did this, and I was a preacher, and I was a teacher, and I did Sunday school, and I gave my tithing, and I gave my 10%. And I had a wonderful life, and it was a good run. And you were there at times, and sometimes you weren't, but hey, I had my run. Jesus, can I come into heaven? No. But Lord, depart from me. I never knew you. But Lord, I said amen. I said, in the name of Jesus, I said all these things in your name. Depart from me. I never knew you. Ouch. Your last appeal is gone. Your last hope has been removed. If Jesus doesn't know you, you have no hope. You have no salvation. He who has the Son has life, but he who has not the Son of God has not life. Do you get it? Because if you don't got it, you're going to get it. And what you're going to get is hell. You're going to be condemned. The verdict is coming down. And every day of your life that you're living, you're offering up evidence on your behalf. One way or the other. Either for a personal relationship with Jesus and a knowledge of God our Father, or you're demonstrating that you're just a child of Satan. That you really were born in sin, and that your father is the devil, the god of this world. So what do? Despair? Throw your hands up and say, oh well, eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. Oh well, I didn't believe in God anyway, so I'm just going to go my way and do what I'm doing. Or do you take it to God in prayer? Do you take your life and say, I blew it. I know. I blew it. I can't do it. I blew it. I'm addicted. I'm addicted to porno. I'm addicted to sex. I'm addicted to drugs. I'm addicted to life. I'm addicted to prosperity. I'm addicted to my job. I'm addicted to my dogs and cats. I'm addicted to all these things that make me feel good, that make me look good, that make me who I am. I see now, God, I blew it. I've wasted my life if it was all about you and not about me. I've wasted my time if it was all about what you wanted done and told me directly instead of what I thought you wanted done, even though I did them in your name. I blew it because I got famous, but you didn't. God, I blew it. You know what? God will forgive that. My father, I don't know about your father. I don't know. All I know is my father. My father loves a broken and contrite spirit. And he will not reject those that come to him in honesty and in truth, in sincerity and in reality of a person who really is broken, who says, I can't do it. I'm a sinner. I can't stop sinning. I'm caught up. I'm bound. Only you can set me free. Only you could save me from myself and from this world. Only you can give me salvation. Because I can't claim it. I can't name myself a Christian. I can't pretend and envision myself into succeeding when Jesus himself could tell me, I never knew you. Depart from me. I can only do what you show me to do, God. So I need you. I blew it. I need you. And so God says, yeah, you do. But you can't leave it there. You see, God knows you need him. And God's been saying to you bluntly all along, you need me. You need me. You need me. And if the moment comes when you die and you never once solve those issues of life that are going to affect you for eternity, God isn't going to throw you out. He'll give you your day in court. He'll let you speak your mind. He'll let you exercise your right to freedom of speech. And he will hang you by your own words and cast you into the lake of fire. Because you hear his voice today. You know you're being talked to today. You know in your heart of hearts, you blew it of your own free will. You blew it. And until you get to that place where you admit it, you're going to hell. Literally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. All parts of your being are going to hell. Somebody's laughing at you in heaven. Somebody is so maliciously evil that he's enjoying every moment that you live because you are your own worst enemy. You're convicting yourself before the court of God of how guilty you are by your words, by your attitude, by your actions, by the things you're doing right now, today. And you're guilty. You're guilty of sin. What are you going to do about it? But I don't know. I go to church and I like it for a while, when they're singing, but I don't like that preaching stuff, It's always so negative. I want something positive. Really. You don't get to go to hell. Is that positive enough? Now you get to die, you get to suffer, you get to be persecuted, you get to be with Jesus. And in the end, have riches beyond your measure. Quite phenomenally, a life that will go beyond your comprehension. Yeah, but I want it now. Okay. Go do. Because God won't argue with you. He'll let you go do what you think is right in your own eyes. Enjoy what you think you need to enjoy now. Because he did say deny yourself. And if you're enjoying life to the max, I live life to the fullest. I'm a thrill seeker. I want to get thrilled now because I'm going to get chilled later. No, you're not. You're going to get burned. Because your trials and tribulations that you're going through after you're dead will be either you're passing through a fire and most of your works will be consumed, or some will be good, or you're going to a fire that's going to consume you. That's the lake of fire. It's kind of interesting, isn't it? Your bad works probably are going into the lake of fire, whether you know it or not. And you'll come through singed, but you'll be out of it. But those that don't have and have been rejected by God will stay in that lake of fire. Permanently, forever, in torment. God help you. But I don't want to go there. Then don't. You see, you can say, God help me. You can say, I need you. But you got to do something. You got to ask Him to take over your life. Because it's not enough to just say, oh, I need you. It's not enough to just say, oh, it's obvious that I can't run my life. It's not enough to say, well, I never had a chance. Because you did. And today you have that opportunity to do whatever you want to do. But you see, every day, the opportunity is simply to ask God, help. I can't do it. Will you take over, please? Will you lead me today? Will you help me to say, God, forgive me of all my sins? God, take over my life and control me because I'm out of control. God, take the reins and the intelligence and the being that I am and run my life for me because I'm ruining my life without you. God, give me your Son, that He would be my lawyer, that He would stand up for me in this heavenly scene, this courtroom I'm guilty of, this verdict that's being rendered unto me, this judgment that's come upon me. God, I really didn't know. So, can I give my lawyer the power of attorney? Can I turn my life over to this person who will be my advocate? Can I let Jesus be in control of my life? God, if I'm going to hell, can't He take care of all those laws and rules and regulations for me? Can't He take care of this judgment against me? Can't He remove the penalty of death upon me? Jesus can. You can't. You see, if you represent yourself in heaven, you have a fool for a client. If you represent yourself in heaven, you have a fool for a client, and you will lose because your case has already been determined, and you are not credentialed to appear in the court of God's law. You'll be judged. You'll stand before that court. If you don't have a lawyer, you're going to hell. So what are you going to do about it? Who are you going to turn to for help? Call 1-800-LAWYER. And sure enough, some advocate might stand up for you. Well, I knew him when he was, like a good Christian, I knew him when he was like pretty cool, he wasn't so bad, he's one of those kind of like, good guys, he helped me out once in a while, but I don't know, he's I don't know, God, if I was God, I would say he's okay. You're not God, are you? Well, but I wasn't as bad as them. I didn't do as much as some other person did. I wasn't one of those, what I am is what I'm being judged on. Who are you? Do you know? What are you? Do you know? What does God say you are today? Just the way you are. Do you know? What are you today? Based upon what God says you are. Do you know? Because if you don't know, you'll wind up in hell with absolutely no opportunity to change who you are, what you are, or how you got there.